All right, it looks like we are live. Hey everyone, I already see quite a few of you guys joining. Hey Scrubfoot.com, hey Ranger, Elizabeth, Marcy. I am so excited for today's spring release. This is a really fun one. I've actually had the designs, I think, since last year, and we're finally able to put them out for you guys. I am so excited about the different designs that we have. I think there's a little something for everyone in this release, which is really awesome. So I'm going to let a couple of you guys join before we get started. Now I wanted to quickly, before we get into today's spring release, I wanted to talk about the Simon Hurley Create stamping foam. You guys have absolutely loved the stamping foam and showed it so much support. It was very overwhelming but amazing. So I want to thank you all so much for that. Now, with that being said, we ordered a little bit too little of the stamping foam. I've gotten a lot of questions, a lot of comments on my YouTube channel and videos and things like that about it and where you can purchase it right now, and unfortunately it's not available pretty much anywhere. So I did want to let you guys know that in a few months it will be back. Just because of everything that's going on in the world, it's been a little bit more difficult to get our hands on, but we are very much so working on it. And when it comes back in a few months, we will also have other things to go along with it and really bring it back to life and bring it back in a whole new way, which I'm so excited about. So be on the lookout for that. I wanted to give a little bit of an update on the stamping foam before we get started. Now, with today's release, it is gonna go for like coming soon on Ranger. So you'll be able to see it there. You can sign up for notifications. In fact, I will leave a link in the chat right now. It's for pre-sale on British Monroe, so if you go purchase on British Monroe, you can actually buy it and they will be shipping it soon. And if you go to Ranger, you can put your name in and they will notify you very soon. We actually have all of this stuff ready and in the warehouse. We just want to give all the other stores that we ship it to a fair chance to, sell it before we jump on the train. So I linked it in the chat right there, so you can check it out on British Monroe and also on Ranger. All right, everyone, so I am so excited to see you all here. Kelly says she's from California. She's super excited. So many awesome people in here. Bonnie. Lots of awesome people from Ranger as well. So let's turn on my work surface and get right into the live. So, starting off, so many people have been asking for a new color of ink. So we have one for you guys. This one is called Sidewalk Chalk. And it is this beautiful kind of lavenderish purple. It's a little bit of a lighter color. We're kind of filling in the range with some lighter tones, and this one fits into the line perfectly. So let me compare it to a couple other colors. Let me show you the swatch first. So this is the swatch of Sidewalk Chalk. I did a lot on here. So this is the color Swiped Out. Isn't that just stunning? Love it. And then here it is stamped with one of the new stamps, so you guys are already getting a sneak peek. And then blended out, you get this beautiful, really smooth blend of that lavender color. And then I also added a little bit of water on top, and that is how it's gonna look when you react it with water. So it lifts off a little bit of that color. And then here it is where I blended it through a stencil on top to get an even darker color. So lots of amazing things you could do with the Sidewalk Chalk ink. I am so excited for this color. It is, I think, really, like I said, filling in kind of some gaps where there was some lighter colors missing. I think lighter colors are super important because, of course, if you want to do some stamping or you want to make sure you're going to get a really nice blend, these are going to really do that for you. So now, let me show you it compared to some of the other colors in the line. So here it is compared to some of the other purples. Of course, we have Triple Berry and Crown Me. These are some really awesome colors, and you can see they're kind of in different color families. I like to make sure that when I'm giving you colors, they're not all like, one step away from each other. I like to make sure they're kind of very different colors because you can really, like build up colors or lighten out colors to get new ones. So Crown Me is almost this kind of like grape-like purple. It's a very kind of royal saturated color. Triple Berry is just that. It's kind of the mid-tone purple. It's very warm and kind of got some red tones in there. And then Sidewalk Chalk is kind of its own little guy. I mean, these two can layer beautifully. I can already tell that they're going to work so well together. But this is just the new lightest version of purple. So yes, thank you, everyone. You guys are loving the color. Scrapbook.com said, that's a beautiful color and we love the name. Elizabeth said, what a fabulous addition. So Heather said, will the full set of inks get updated with this new color. So there is a bundle, and I think we'll probably keep updating that bundle on Ranger's site as we update with new colors probably. I'll have to check with them on that one. So then I wanted to show that it's really filling in some of the more lighter colors in our line, like I said. So we already had Over the Moon, which is this light kind of buttery yellow. Now we have the new edition of Sidewalk Chalk, and of course Piggyback, which is that really, really light pink. So super exciting. I absolutely love all of these different colors that we're adding now. And of course, I think Minty Fresh should probably go in here too, since it's kind of that lighter color. But these work just beautifully along with the other light colors in my line, especially to create some really cool spring cards. And I'm going to share examples at the end, but I think you guys are going to fall in love with this color as much as I have. So Ranger said, yes, we will. So there's your update on that question. Thank you so much. Megan is on the chat for Ranger's account, and she's doing such an amazing job. So excited about this color. I think you guys will love it as well. And I was excited to bring it out for spring. A big shout out to Ranger for pulling that off. And I know it's a little bit more difficult to create colors and things like that right now because of everything that's going on in the world, but they did such an amazing job to make sure this one was out for you guys in February. So that is Sidewalk Chalk. I am so excited, and when I create with you guys at the end and share more samples, you guys will definitely get to see this color more in action, and I'll be using it in all my videos. Now, one thing I did want to note too, I don't know if I brought it here with me, but I do recommend getting the reinker with, if you want to. The ink pads don't dry out super often, but when it comes to lighter colors, I do recommend getting a reinker because, you know, the darker tones like these, when they kind of sort of start drying out after, you know, several months of using them, I use them consistently, so mine probably dry out even more. But after a few months, they're going to turn into a lighter color, right? But when you have a lighter color, that being even lighter, it's not going to do you so good. So I recommend getting a reinker with some of the softer, more muted tones, because that's going to do you really good if you want to keep it nice and saturated. And also, I do want to say I've created several videos using reinkers. I'm even going to do more using this release. You can use them on a gel press, and you can create some really beautiful backgrounds with them that are more vibrant. So I think having a reinker can, number one, help you with more techniques, but also just make sure that you are keeping the life of your ink pad rejuvenated. All right, so that is the new color. I'm so excited about it. And now let's get into the release. Okay, so first off, I want to start off with the stencil. I know a lot of you guys love stencils. I think they give just such a bang for your buck, and this one is called Flower Power. I absolutely love it. It's just this beautiful kind of spring-looking design. These flowers would be so stunning for some ink blending, and I just love this one. There's not too much I can say about a stencil, but I think you guys are going to fall in love with this design as much as I did. I created it, and I was just so in awe and could not wait for this one to release. So I've got a couple of different examples using this one, but it's just a beautiful design that you can use. Yes, everyone is saying the reinkers are so versatile. I so agree with that. Trippleberry is calling your name Blanca. Yeah, it just fits in so perfectly with those other colors. So here is Egg Hunt. This is a new red rubber background stamp. These are manufactured by Stampers Anonymous for us. They have just the best quality red rubber, which I'm so excited about. And look at all of that amazing detail in there, right? I drew these and I was like, I don't know if all of those tiny little dots and details are gonna go in there, but they did such an amazing job at capturing all of the detail for Egg Hunt. So this is a peel apart background stamp. So what that means is you have a row of eggs that come out, and you also have, I think, 5 different eggs that come out like this. So there's all different ones. I'll show you kind of up close. There's different cutouts, and you can peel those apart and use them separately. I think it's super cool because you can stamp these eggs, you know, a little bundle of eggs all in different colors if you want to. You can stamp one by itself, or you can stamp this full row. And I've got a really cool card because what you could do is keep shifting it down and create this background in all different colors. So there is just so much you can do with peel apart background stamps. I think we started doing that like at the second release of my product line, and it was just my favorite thing that we've come up with because you can just do so much more with any background stamp, and it's the exact same price as a normal background too. So don't think we're upcharging you for these cutouts. It's the exact same price, and of course you can piece it in back like a puzzle and use the full background stamp. So many of you guys are loving this. Yes, eggs. Yeah, Everybody is loving those peel apart background stamps, and we're gonna keep doing them, of course, because I adore how much versatility you can get out of them. When you guys spend your money on stuff, I want to make sure that you are getting the most use for your money. And this really does that because it's almost like you're getting a stamp set of eggs along with a background stamp, which is so much fun. So, there we go. My mom is in the chat now. She just popped in there. All right, next we have Lovely Lilies, and this is one of my favorites as well. I've been kind of sneak peeking online that we are going to do some more florals and keep making sure that we have sophisticated designs too, because they're one of my favorite things to create with, and I like to have some versatility where, you know, I want some playful images and some that are a little bit more sophisticated. So this one, Lovely Lilies as well, is a peel apart background stamp. It is such a fun one because you have all of these beautiful flowers in here, and they're pretty darn large too. These are 6x6 background stamps. But then of course this peels apart. Now look, again, Stampers Anonymous, look at those tiny little dots. Did such an amazing job at making sure that everything is going to transfer with these background stamps. So with this one, I had a lot of different things in mind, and I'll share with you the examples in just a second. Actually, I'll pull out the examples for this one just because I think it's important to see with the Lovely Lilies. So of course you can stamp the full background down like this and get just a few lilies on either side and then that fun dotted pattern down the center. I think that's just beautiful, and watercolor that in. Of course you can do one side of the lilies and peel that apart to use one side of it. And this is also the Splinter background stamp that we released like eons ago, but it's just stunning with this release. And then I wanted to make sure that you can peel it apart because I wanted to create gatefold cards like this. So there's pretty much videos on all of this that will be going up on my YouTube channel in just a little bit, in a couple weeks. But I wanted to make sure that you guys had like so much versatility with using these background stamps, and this Lovely Lilies background stamp is absolutely no exception. It's one of my favorites we've ever released just because there's so much you can do with it, and it's really stepping out of the style that we usually do. So let me show you guys this. I want to share too, when you peel this apart, there is a lot of different little areas, like there's this and different areas here. Now, when you peel these apart for the first time, there's gonna be little tiny rubber attachments here and there. So when you're peeling it, just make sure you're very careful to peel it very gently apart, and then you'll be good to go. And then, like I said, this one might be a little bit more difficult to piece in. I wanted to make sure that it was a peel apart no matter what. I originally was going to leave this dotted pattern out of here, but then, our graphic designer and one of our product managers was like, you know what, let's keep that in there because people can have the option to use it or just leave it out if they want. So like, let's say you just don't even want it altogether. You don't even want the trouble of, you know, putting this back in like this. You can just peel that inside piece out and keep it or throw it away or whatever you want to do with it. But I like to keep it because I think that dot pattern is so stunning in there, and it's not too difficult to put back together and make sure you're able to use it together again. But just so much detail in there. I think you guys are going to absolutely love this one. Moral of the story that I was trying to get across with that one is just be careful when you're using it and putting it back in. Some of the peel parts will be a little bit more difficult, but so worth it in the end. All right. Yes, totally. Melissa said you could use 1/2 as a slimline card. You could do a lot with that. All right, now getting on into the clear photopolymer stamp sets. Let's talk about this one called Happy Easter. I'm gonna pull it out of its plastic so you guys can see it a little bit more clear. So this one is so much fun. Of course, it's the more kind of bunny Easter and things like that. I love this one. So we have different sentiments like Happy Easter. That one's handwritten. Same with a couple of these as well. Happy Easter, somebody loves you, made you a card. Hope you have an excellent day. There's lots of different sentiments you can use together. You're one of my favorite peeps. I'm so excited to see you. And then we have a bunch of different images in here. So of course I wanted this to be able to kind of use as not just an Easter card, but also just scene cards and things like that. So I wanted the backs of these two bunnies so you can stamp them like they're holding hands and maybe looking out over a scenescape using the Scene Maker stencil or anything like that. And then we have this fun Easter bunny, the grass for the basket as well. And then this little chick right here, a balloon that you can make him holding or them holding. And then I wanted to make sure you had an Easter egg and some designs that filled in that egg. So I made sure you had a solid egg so that you could do some stamp kissing and create your own designs. And then I made sure that there was some designs in here that you can stamp inside of that, you know, perfectly as well. And then I wanted to make sure you had a sentiment you can put inside the eggs. So that fits perfectly right inside of there. So that is the Happy Easter set. There are so many ideas with this one, and I'm going to show you guys a bunch of different, I'll leave a link where you guys can go shopping again, but I'm going to share a bunch of different examples in the end of all of the different amazing things you could do with these products, and this one just has so much versatility to it, not only with Easter, but I think if you take away the sentiments and things like that, you'll have cards for all year round with just little critters like these bunnies that are adorable. Yes, Janine said, I love how you can mix and match all of your sets together. I try to make them all pretty much the same line weight and the same kind of size so they can really mix and match, like Janine said. And I love now that we're kind of building up our line because, like I had mentioned, that splinter background stamp works. The Scene Maker stencil is going to work beautifully with this one to create grasses and things like that, and I thought that one would be perfect for Easter cards as well. So I love that we're kind of pretty far into the line now that you can really, have tons of options to mix and match everything. Last but not least, we have this stamp set called He is Risen. I love this one. It's got a large cross with a bunch of flowers in it, and again, more sophisticated images that I was really excited about. So this one has a bunch of different flowers kind of going around this cross, which I think is so much fun. Some lilies and some roses. And then, of course, I gave you all of the different little images that can go along with all of these. So you have all the different flowers and different pieces that can stick out. You can layer it up and things like that. I also wanted another one, so I made Risen with all of those different flowers sticking out as well. And then for both of these, you have the large cross and also the large solid Risen word. So you can stamp Risen inside of here in a different color. And then with the cross, oh my gosh, there is so much detail in there for that wood grain. I actually took Splinter, which was one of our background stamps. I shrunk it down and I made sure you had that awesome texture in there. So it's like the reverse of Splinter. It's pretty much the reverse background stamp, but you get to stamp it inside of there. So it makes for coloring super easy. All you have to do is color in these different flowers, which is pretty darn easy to do. And then, of course, you got lots of different sentiments. You have some Bible verses, so you're looking for Jesus the Nazarene who was crucified. He has risen. He is not here. See the place where he laid them. I think these are going to be great for the inside of the card. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And then, of course, if you want to keep it more simple, have a blessed Easter, happy Easter, and then there's a bunch of different sentiments that can go along with He is risen, another version of happy Easter, He is not here, for he is risen as he said, and then a larger lily stamp. So much fun. Scrapbook.com is saying these stamps are gorgeous. Janine said, I think I just blew my birthday money budget. I think you guys are loving this cross stamp, and I am too. I've created a bunch of different examples with this, but like I said, I wanted more sophisticated things in the line as well as those playful images. So I think throughout the next year, you'll see a mixture of both. That way there's really a lot of options to choose from for you guys to create with, because I love creating with stuff like this too. I don't just love all the little critters. I think this stuff is just so much fun to create some stunning cards with. So you guys are absolutely loving that cross set. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for the support on this release. I'll leave a link. Like I said, again, I'll recap it just a little bit. Brutus Monroe has it for pre-sale right now. So you can order it and it will ship as soon as they get it in. I think Scrapbook.com is going to get the stuff, but they'll have it in about a week when they get it in their warehouse. And same thing with Ranger. We have it on coming soon on our site, so you can sign up to get notified for it. And then once it's in stock, you can get it in your hands. All right, so let's look at some examples. So most of these have a video along with them, but I'm going to show you some Easter examples. So this one is using the Happy Easter stamp set, those different eggs and designs, and then this is just a simple tone-on-tone blending with that Flower Power stamp, or sorry, stencil. This one is using the Egg Hunt background, the gosh, what is this? Happy Easter. It's so hard to do so fast. This is that color, that Sidewalk Chalk. And then this one has a fun pop out. So of course using that stencil and the Happy Easter, just so much fun. So this one has its own video. Guys, I am so excited for this video to come out. Just wait till you see that one. So Ranger said these will be available on Ranger's website on 3/20. Okay. So yes, and I think I think hold out, that's, I think, the latest date that it can go on, but it could go on very much so sooner as well. So just hold up. It could go on sooner in March as well. I talked to them yesterday, and we're definitely thinking about that. So we just want to make sure that people have, you know, other stores like Scrapper.com and Brutus Monroe and all of the little independents have a fair chance to sell their stuff first. So if you have a local scrapbook store, ask them to get this stuff in. So this one is using the egg background stamp. I used each line of the egg background stamp with the different colors to create this fun and beautiful background. And then I used that little adorable chick in the center on a die to create that beautiful card. Oh my gosh, I love this one. I made it last night and I was like, we need to do the rows with different colors. And I think I'll show you guys how to do that today. And then of course, I used that Easter egg one in the background here with some clear embossing. There is Sidewalk Chalk. So it's so much fun. You can of course layer it to be a little bit darker and create that really beautiful lavender color. And then of course, the bunny from Happy Easter with his little eggs. I love this one. So much fun. So here is, again, these different cards using lovely Lilies. I'm obsessed with this background stamp. You can probably tell it's one of my faves. I've used it just so much. This one, I used it with an Altenew stamp set that has those halftone circles. So just like mix and match your supplies. Honestly, it creates some really stunning cards. So there are those. I love these Lily cards. Yes, Ranger just said on or before, and make sure to sign up for notifications. So of course we have this He Is Risen from that fun stamp set called, I think it's called He Is Risen. Yeah. And I love this one. So I stamped the Risen down with some Sidewalk Chalk, and then I stamped it several times in my Misty to get that little bit of gradation there. And then I did just a little bit of coloring of those flowers in. With this cross is so stunning. I used that wood grain. Here I used one of the Happy Easters. And then you have those beautiful flowers that I was just really able to color in pretty simply. They're pretty small, so they're really quick and easy to color in after you've stamped your solid. And then of course, just one that's a little bit more fun and colorful. I've stamped it down on top of that colorful background and done a little bit of white heat embossing. So much fun. All of these different cards, I think, can create some really beautiful cards with these different stamp sets. So I am so excited that you guys are absolutely loving this release as much as you are. What do you guys want to see? I think I'm going to start off using the egg background stamp, and then I'll keep listening to what you guys want to see me craft with next. So I want to peel this out and show you guys how you can use it. So this isn't going to fit on my acrylic block, obviously, because it's huge. So we might need to make more acrylic blocks. Guys, these came out last release, and I've already opened an absurd amount of acrylic blocks, and I think I need even more. They're just so useful. So, like, I've been just using these, and these pretty much work for almost every image in my collection, which is so exciting. I don't know where these keep disappearing to, but I only have 2 right now, so I think I'm going to need to open more, like I said. But I'm going to use a bigger acrylic block for this one, just because it's that longer background stamp. So let's get in here. I'm going to use some stark white cardstock, and let's pull out some colors. On my example from yesterday, I did some different blending. So let me show you what I did. I went in here, so like let's start off with, what color did we go with? I'm going to kind of try to replicate that card because I love how it turned out. So first we started off with a little bit of Guppy. All right, and I love that the ink line is kind of expanding now because we have a lot of different options. So I did it in my Misty because you can get a little bit better blending, I find, in your Misty when you're trying to do a little bit of layering. But let me show you what I did. So then I went in with a little bit of traffic cone, and I actually went in with like a blending tool and did it, so you get like a softer, more subtle blend. But today, we're gonna go in a little bit quicker, and we'll try to blend it out using our blending tool to soften that color out. And let's see. Let me spray it once. I'm gonna mist it. My mister is like almost out of water. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that's good. And then we shall stamp it down. Perfect. So look at that amazing blend. That's why I'm like, I am obsessed that we have the different colors of inks now, because you're able to do so much with them. So that was Guppy and a little bit of traffic cone. So like having that darker and lighter color together is just makes for some stunning cards. Now we'll go in with a little bit of Sidewalk Chalk. one of my new faves. It just kind of filled in an area that I think for the next year, you guys will see some inks that we release are just going to really fill in like the different areas that we were missing, because I started realizing like, you know, there's some different colors. I'm not like a huge fan of just releasing colors for the sake of it, but if it's a totally different tone or it works really well with the colors that we have, I think it really is just exciting to get our hands on. So a very light mist, like you can barely even tell that water is on there. I just do it to kind of help blend those colors together. And we'll stamp that down. Look at that. Turns out I didn't even need my Misty for this. This just creates some really stunning backgrounds. So super vibrant. And this is what I'm talking about with these background stamps that have the peel aparts. To have this as a peel apart, like as a row, and all of those different individual eggs makes it like so much more versatile than any other background stamp, just because it just makes it so much more usable. Like look how we're using it right now. That would never be possible unless if we went in with a bunch of pieces of tape and masked everything off, and I'm not into that. So I'm so excited that we create these peel aparts. All right, so let's go in here. I used a little bit of Over the Moon and then a little bit of Slippery When Wet. Can't talk while I'm stamping. I gotta be focused. Just look at that. Oh my gosh. So like, of course, you could just skip the two-tone altogether and just stamp them in rows. I'm a little bit more difficult, and I like the kind of two-tone look that gives. So that's why I'm doing that like it this way. Let's go in with a little bit of Piggyback. This one's a really light color, but like I said, this is where it really helps to have those re-inkers, because when you have a light color that's dried out, it's not going to show up as much, but when you have a light color that's juicy and nice and re-inked, you're going to get a beautiful color. Okay. So let's just do a little bit of spray. And I mean, look how fast this background is coming too. Like last night when I was doing it with my Misty, it definitely took me a lot longer, but this is just quick. Quick and easy. And then last but not least, one of my favorite colors, you guys know this. We gotta get some Psych in here. So these are like some of my favorite tones for Easter. So if you guys have the Simon Hurley Create inks, or you have some of the collection, or you're looking to get some, and you're looking to get some for this kind of spring season right now because you want to create with it, and I love Tropical Tango mixed with, oh my gosh, it creates such a beautiful tone. These are some of my go-to colors, just in general, but also just for this spring season. It creates such beautiful looks. And now that is a really dark color on top of the light one there. So that is where these kind of blending brushes or blending tools, if you want to use the foams too, come in really big handy, because you can make it much softer. So that's a really good tip. All right. And last but not least, perfect. Look at that blend. Oh my gosh. Guys, sometimes I just surprise myself. I'm like, I know what I'm about to do, but when it stamps, it's just so stunning. So there we have that background. And then of course, when you're done with your background stamp, all you have to do, if you're using my inks, all you have to do is just clean it off with a little bit of water. That's one of my favorite parts about my inks, is that it doesn't need any cleaner really to come off the stamps, and it won't stain the stamps either. So if you are a big fan of that, you're gonna love them. Let me find the eggs. Sometimes my desk is kind of a mess right now from just crafting last night. So, and there we go. Look how easy it was to piece that back together. But here you have just that stunning background with all of that detail and dimension. So using this background stamp to create this beautiful background, I think you guys are going to love this one. Oh yes, I can, yep, if you go back to the beginning, you can definitely see the comparison. I'll even hold them up here for just a second. Here is the difference between the purples in the line. So you've got a very big difference. And then I even compared it next to Piggyback because I know there would be some questions about that. It looks similar in the packaging, but very different on cardstock. So yeah, the difference between the color, and it's not a huge difference, but whenever color hits paper, it's going to hit every paper a little bit differently, but this is it on the Simon Hurley Create Stark White cardstock. So whenever I'm testing inks, that's really important to me, is just to see how it's going to look on the paper, because you're going to get a completely unique color. Okay, so Scrapper.com says it's perfect. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to be able to do that with it. All right, so let me set this off to the side now, and let's get into some more stamping. Let's do some, what did you guys say you wanted? Did anybody talk in the chat about what they wanted to see? Nobody said anything. Okay. Well, I'll keep going. I was gonna see what you guys wanted. Here is the lovely Lilies background stamp. Now this one is one of my faves. I love florals, and I know a lot of you guys do too. They're some of my favorites to color in. I released that Sentimental Flowers background stamp, I released the Sentimental Flowers stamp set, I think in December, and I was just having so much fun with flowers, and I was like, all right, that's it. Like, this is the end of me not doing any flowers. So we are recently doing more and more, just because it's so easy and fun to color in and create some really easy, sophisticated cards for pretty much any occasion. Like this, although we're releasing it during Easter, doesn't just have to be for Easter, right? Because lilies are just stunning. I think I have another stamp set with a lily in it, and I've been using it all year long. So let me go in here and show you guys how one of my favorite ways to color this. So I'm going to peel this apart here. Of course, you could use the whole thing if you want to, but I'm just going to peel it apart like this. And then do I have a stamp? No, I'm going to just stick it down to my surface and stamp it like this. I don't have a block that's going to fit that whole thing. All right, so I'm going with some Jet Black Archival ink. This is some of my favorite ink for nice dark lines. And I think if you guys have seen my videos, you'll know that I use this super often for all my outlines, and you'll probably know what I do afterwards too. So I'm just going to go in here and ink this up. Definitely getting black on my fingers. There we go. Look how beautifully that's stamped. That's why I love this Red Rubber by Stampers Anonymous. And then I'm just going to go in here and do a little bit of embossing. So one thing about the Jet Black Archival that not a lot of people know is it's oil-based. So it actually has just a little bit of open time where it's not really going to smear with your finger, but it's still a little bit wet on the surface. And so there you're able to go in and heat emboss it with a little bit of clear embossing powder. All right, so there we go. That was probably something I should have prepared beforehand, but I thought I would share that tip with you guys. So that is a really good tip. Whenever I'm using Jet Black Archival, I pretty much heat emboss it, just because it creates such a stunning effect on your card to have that like jet black with that little bit of shine on there. It's one of my favorite things. And it also, if you're gonna go in and watercolor or anything like that, it keeps your color in the lines a lot easier. So if that's something you struggle with, you're going to do great with the Archival. All right, so let me go in here, and I'm going to do a little bit of blending. Now, I want to use some of these blending tools, and let's go in with some of my colors. So let's start off with a little bit of Over the Moon. I'm going to use these domed blenders that Ranger just came out with, and I'm going to just start in the center of these flowers and just create this kind of soft blend. Now, this is one of my favorite things to do, is just like not stay in the lines, just create these kind of inky techniques. One of my favorite looks on lilies is to have those like lilies that have those dots in the center, and then they pretty much go out to white. That's the effect we're going for today. So we've got a little bit of Over the Moon going, and if you guys want to, you can also go in with, they have these like, what are they called? Detail blending tools. And they're some of my favorite things because you can go in, and if you want to even go in and darken that center more, you can. So look at that, we just made that center even a darker orange color. So these blending tools are available already. They've been released for quite some time, but they are some of my favorites. I'll leave a link. You can press shop Simon Hurley Create, and then it'll bring you to Ranger's site, and there's a bunch on there of different tools and things like this, as well as the rest of my line that's already been released. So let's go in next with a little bit of, let's piggyback. See, that's why I love these softer colors. If you want to start off with a much softer blend, this is the way to go because it's a lot easier to do and to really control. I know some people are heavy-handed, so this is like just a no-brainer to have these lighter colors in the line. I used to be a little bit against it, but I'm like, it's just kind of necessary to have. So we'll have that lighter pink there, and then let's go in here too and do a soft blend of that light pink color. And then next, let's go in with some rosy cheeks. And someone wanted it compared to they wanted Sidewalk Chalk compared to rosy cheeks. But like, here is piggyback against rosy cheeks too. So you can see there's a big difference there, a little bit of a jump. So it's not like you're buying two of very similar colors. It's very different. All right, I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as I am. It's just kind of fun to sit down and craft after waiting for a release to come out for you guys and then having you all see it and then be able to share some ideas with you guys. And of course, although I can't read all of the comments now, I think you guys are loving the release. I see a comment that says so many possibility with the Lilies, sympathy cards, Easter cards, blessings, you know, and you're so right. There is like so many things you could do with Lilies. Beyond just Easter. I think they're just a beautiful flower, so I was excited to kind of release them, and they're one of my favorite flowers just because of how they look and their different colorings. Like I said, it's just so cool to have like those darker centers and then have them go out to white. That's one of my favorite effects. And then let's go in with a little bit of triple berry. So like I said, for pretty much every color now, there is kind of its sibling color where it's is really easily able to layer up, where we didn't have that at the beginning. So now it's like you can create these stunning blends and things like that with it. So I'm excited for triple berry to have a lighter sibling. All right, so now let's go in with, what's another color we could do? Let's go in with, I was gonna say psych, but that does not make sense. Let's go in with a little bit of guppy. So we'll do some orange here. And we'll do it up here too. And this is different than the first orange that I used. This is guppy. I think I did guppy in the centers of these. And then I'm going to do traffic cone for the inside of this, and you'll see this orange is totally unique for the line. We gotta get a lighter one for this version. All right, so now next I'm going to go in with, this is where I would go in with like a blending brush or something like that, just because I want a smaller area, so I can kind of like pinch the bristles and things like that to make it a smaller area. And here I'm just going to kind of go in and lightly go into some of these areas and fill it in with some of this green color. And like I said, I'm ink blending, right? So I chose not to watercolor this. So I'm not really caring too much where this color goes, because in the end, it just creates this stunning kind of haze of color over the whole thing. So if it overlaps over a flower or anything like that, I don't mind too much. I'm not too much of a perfectionist when it comes to doing inked backgrounds. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into. And then of course, we can go in and you know the drill. We got to go in with a little bit of Tropical Tango after that, because this just goes so well with Psych to create. It's kind of a darker green, but it also brings in the little bit of teal with this Tropical Tango. So we'll just go in here and bring a little bit of that in. This is one of my favorite like leaf combinations for florals. If you want to try it out, just a little bit of Psych and then some Tropical Tango. It's like a bright one, so you can tell here it's a bright one, but it's not like an earthy look, but I just love it. I love the kind of brightness it brings to the whole image by doing that. But of course, if you want a more earthy look, like you've got these and Later Gator, these are more green greens rather than Psych, which is more of a yellow green, but I'm obsessed with it. All right, so there we have our background. And now if you wanted to finish this off, I would just go in, and I like to take these big scissors when I'm doing something like this, and just go in and really quickly, like, look how easy this is with these scissors. I leave quite a large border because it's got that haze of color on it. It doesn't really matter. And you're able to just go in. This is a pretty easy image to follow. Go along the edge of. I usually use those little Fiskars ones, but for something like this where you're just like quickly cutting along the edge, this makes it so that you can just get a nice smooth, easy cut. So I just wanted to share this because I know that when you're blending a background, it can be like, whoa, he just went way outside the lines. But then when you cut it out like this, it doesn't really look like it's too messy at all, right? It looks like you took a little bit of time to color this in, and I think this could be a really cool way to make kind of a set of cards, or if you're not really into watercolor because you struggle with the water aspect of it, because I know that can be tricky to have control over the water. This is a really beautiful way to just be able to easily blend it in with some of those tools, the larger ones and the smaller tools, and then create this easy blend. All right. So let's go in here. I'm gonna spray this down. And we'll go in. So I'm going to go in here and spray this down just a little tiny bit. I made a card like this for the samples, and I loved when it was sprayed down because you get just a little bit of texture on these, and like I was telling you, like they have little dots on them in real life for those darker colors, so I wanted to create a similar effect. So it takes away your smooth blending, but it just creates such a beautiful look. And this is where I would go in with the Ranger Heat tool to just quickly dry this. All right, now let me show you how I finished off this card. So the other day I used this background, which is, if you go to Ranger's site, I'll again leave a link and it'll say the Ranger Coming Soon one, but if you go there, it'll bring you to my whole collection of stamps. And this one is like one of the first stamps we released. I believe it was in the first collection that we released, which is so funny to me, but all of these can come back around. So look, all you have to do, stamp this onto a card, right? Put it on a card base, and you have that beautiful kind of tone-on-tone wood grain in the background. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I did it on a couple of these for the Easter cards. If you want to do it on a piece of craft cardstock, or if you want to do it on gray, this is Wendy Vecchi's Perfect Gray cardstock, and I just love how that looks with the tone-on-tone. And I did it with Woof. So that's the color that I used to get that tone-on-tone look. So there you can create kind of a full completed card with this image, and I think I'll do that a little bit later. But I'm just obsessed with these lilies and all that you can do with them. Right, so let me just show you once more too. Like, this is pretty simple to just kind of fit in here, press down, and then with some of these littler pieces, you'll have to just kind of move them out of the way to fit your lilies right back in there. So not too difficult at all. And then you're able to put it right back into your stamp. Perfect. Thank you, guys. All right, so let's go in. Let's do one final thing. What do you guys want to see? I think let's do this. I just want to show this really quickly. So I'm going to pull out the He Is Risen stamp set. This one you can see I've already been using. I showed you guys a clean one earlier. But nope, I've been using these sets a lot. They're some of my faves. I have, like I said, so if you do purchase some of these stamps, you'll have so much education with them, because in the next few weeks, once they go live on Ranger's site and once they go live on scrapbook.com and stuff like that, I'll be sharing lots of videos with them so that when you guys have them in your hands and you're able to purchase them, you can get so much different education with them too. So I'm going to go in with this larger cross image first. I just wanted to show you my thoughts behind this and how this stamp set really worked, because a lot of our stamps now are going to have those solid areas, because I feel like it's so nice to have in a stamp set, especially if you're not a colorer. Sometimes I don't feel like coloring, and those solid stamps just make it so simple. So when I'm doing things on my Misty here, I always like to press the stamp down because it only hit those areas where the image actually is. So I like to just get all those bubbles out there. All right. And then we can stamp it down. I like to use some jet black archival, but for this outline you could use anything. And it's quite a large image, so I like to do this in my Misty just because I want to get the whole thing covered. I'll make sure it's in the corner there. And then I can press this down. I love that you guys are so in love with this release. So then there we go. Like I said, I'll go back in, and this is why I love stamping in the Misty, because if I inked it badly or anything like that, you can easily go back in and do it again. Perfect. Sometimes I find if I talk too much and wait too long, but I love that. So there we have our cross image. So then I'm going to go in here and just spray this down. I find if you spray down the archival right away, it's not going to take away any staining, but I'll just spray it with some water and you're able to kind of lift off at least a little bit of that ink before it dries on there. So that's the extent that I clean the archival off of my stamps, but you guys can probably do better than me. And then I'm going to go in with the wood grain stamp. So many of these though, like if I know that I'm just going to use it as an outline for pretty much the whole stamp's life, I don't worry too much about the archival ink getting stained because it's pretty much going to be stamped with black forever. There's some images that I'm just pretty sure that I'm only going to use for that, like outlines and things like that. All right, so I'll line this up. You can pretty much tell by just lining it up with the edges of the cross, but also like all those different flower images in there. It can be really easily lined up there. Ooh, so many people of you guys are saying that you are a little late to the party, but are loving the release, and I'm so excited that you guys are loving it. Okay, so many of you guys said stenciled background. I will use the stencil next. I didn't even look up to see that, so I apologize, but I will do that next. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit of, I promise I'm not trying to ignore you, I promise. So I'll go in with a little bit of Gur. These two are named after my dogs, the two neutrals, Gur and Woof. They're named after my dogs Oreo and Tazo. All right, so I'll go in here and stamp it down. And then one thing I like to do, of course you could just leave it like this if you want, but I'm gonna go in with a little bit of the same color, Woof, on a domed blending tool, and I'll just go in here because you're really easily able to add a little bit of shading if you want to. So it doesn't look like much at first, but the more you go in and do it quickly, this is why I love the Misty, because you're able to add a little bit of shading to the edges. So one of my favorite things to do to just get a little bit of depth and dimension, especially if it's a solid image like this where it's not really layering, that can be a really fun way to get a little bit of depth to the images. So then of course with my inks you can spray it down with water and it's going to come off perfectly clean because mine are water based and really easy to clean and not have your stamp be stained. And then of course, like I was talking about earlier, with these images you can really easily color these in whether you want to use water or not. So like if you don't want to use water on this, let me just quickly make sure that it's nice and dry. Oh, some people also ask why I use this one and the other one. You saw me heat embossing earlier with the other one. I use this Ranger one for drying things, like if I just want to quickly heat set them, but I use the other one for embossing because it's got a much higher speed. Okay, so let me go in here, and I'll go in with this detail blending tool again. Here I'm going to use a little bit of Rosy Cheeks, and all you need to do is simply just blend around. Like, right? It's so easy. And it's just these small little images, so you're really easily able to just fill them in with a little bit of ink and call it a day, right? That's my favorite part about these stamps. You've pretty much filled in the majority of it with the risen word and with the cross, and then you're able to just finish it off so simply and easily with blending tools if you want to, or a little bit of watercoloring if you're into that too. It's totally up to you. And then for this, do I have a blending tool? Yeah, I'll use this one. I'm going to go in with a little bit of Sidewalk Chalk, my newest color, and blend that out. Look how easy that was. Just super simple. And of course, if you want to go in, you'd probably have to use a little tiny brush for those extra leaves there, but just so simple and easy to do. I wanted to share that just because it's so simple to stamp in that solid area and to do coloring with detail blending tools and stuff like that. So if you guys like this, we'll definitely keep doing solid images to stamp it in, because I think it's so easy. So yes, Bonnie brought up a good point. There are digital die cuts for all of these stamps on the site. So if you go to the photopolymer stamp sets, you go to that page and you click the drop down, it'll either say stamp set or it'll say digital die cut. I think it's $1.99 and you can add them to your cart from there as well. So yes, you can totally do that. Blanca says, I might have to buy the full bundle. LOL. It's a great release. Thank you so much. I just was so excited for this one. It's one of my favorite releases too. I say that every time, but honestly, my work just keeps getting better and better, surprisingly to me, because at the beginning, I couldn't really draw much, and now like I'm able to do a lot more, which is really exciting because as I've learned about stamping and creating stamp sets, it's gotten a lot easier to create some really cool stuff. So this release, I think, too, is just so versatile, which is one of my favorite things about it. So now let's get into stenciling, because I know you guys wanted to see that, and then I think we'll have to call it a day. All right, so let's go into this stencil. You guys seem to be loving this stencil. It is called Flower Power, and it's one of my faves, just because it's just beautiful, right? That's pretty much it. That's as simple as that. So let me go in here, and let's do a little bit of ink blending. Now, honestly, guys, if I'm gonna be real here, I ran out of tape a long time ago, so if you see my videos and I'm embarrassingly holding down my stencil with my fingers, that is why. If anybody wants to give me some tape, that would be great. Yeah, I really honestly have no idea. I bet I could use this. Alright, so I'm going to use this. This is not recommended, but I'm going to use it just because I want my stencil to be held in place, and most of my stuff is packed. So like I would use my station, but it's in a box somewhere. So all I'm going to do is add a little bit of score tape, which definitely should not be used for this, on the back of my stencil, and hold it down to the cardstock. All right, so there we go. We've got it adhered down, and now let's go in and do a little bit of blending. So let's do kind of, you guys will probably notice a common theme, but these are some of my favorite colors for spring. So I'll go in with a little bit of that orange, guppy. And I just love this stencil. One of my favorite things to do with it is just use it in a line like this. Or just, sorry, not use it in a line. To ink blend over like the flowers and the leaves separately. So you'll put colors where the flowers are, and where the leaves are, you can put a little bit of green. And it's one of my favorite ways to use it. Of course, you could just do the whole background, but I think this is a fun way. We got a little bit of the new kid on the block, Sidewalk Chalk. Gotta throw a little bit of that in. We'll use, oh, that's gonna be for the leaves. Here it is. A little bit of piggyback. Scrapbook.com, I will take you up on that offer. Hey, if you want to send over some mint tape, I would love you guys even more. I've been out for so long, and I just never told anybody. Alright, so, I love there's in the chat here, just willing to send some tape. Alright, so we've got some piggyback down, and then let's go in, last but not least, with a little bit of Over the Moon. And go in here. Someone asked if I've ever used acrylic paint instead of inks. I just prefer inks because they're so easy to clean and things like that. I've used acrylic paint on things like a gel press, but honestly, I'm kind of scared of my supplies getting dirty, so that's why I like using inks. And just because they're so forgiving and easy to blend and stuff like that, I feel like I'm not an expert on anything else, but yeah, that's why. All right, and then for the green, I know it's shocking, but we're gonna go in with a little bit of overzealous instead of psych. Big gasp, right? All right, so we're going with a little bit of green. There we go. Let's go in here. A little bit of green up here. And last but not least, some green on here. Oh, it got really quiet while I'm stenciling. Yay! Some will be sent out today. That's awesome. Okay, so then I'm gonna go into with a little bit of dark green. I might regret this, but I'm just gonna like touch a little bit of dark green here and there to add a little bit of shading and dimension. So guys, when you see the tape in my videos now, you'll know where it came from. Love you guys at scotford.com. Okay, so here we go, our stencil. Now let's peel this off. And it is just so stunning. So I love this. Now we're gonna have to peel this off. I'll rip my cardstock. And there we go. Just such a stunning background in the end. You get kind of those pastel colors there. And of course, if you want to go in with way more vibrant colors, you could as well. And then one thing that's really awesome about these stencils too is I'm going to go in with a little bit of water. Wipe it down. And this is one of my favorite techniques to use with stencils. I see a lot of you guys saying get some washi tape, and that would have been genius, but my washi tape is packed. Any post-it tape I would have had is still packed. Actually, I do have my washi, but like I'm scared. This is pretty. This is too pretty to use for just like ink blending. Oh, if you guys want to see this, guys, the washi is available on the Ranger site. This is actually so much fun because someone tagged me in it. I think yesterday someone tagged me. This is the real set. That was my prototype. Someone tagged me in a photo that they were using this, and this is just so much fun to seal envelopes with. It comes with 8 sheets, and it's got different widths of like my artwork on it. So it's just so much fun to seal off your envelopes and make people smile. So this is already available on the Ranger website. I'll leave a link right now. You can check it out. There's just a ton of stuff in the collection that we've released already that I'm just so proud of. So all right, let's go in with some different colors. Let's start off with some Prom Queen. Here we're gonna go kind of bright, because go bold or go home, right? I'm holding myself, we all know I love the bright colors, and I'm holding myself back during the Easter time because I want to use the lighter colors because that's pretty much Easter, but we're going bold or we're going home with this one. Okay, so we're gonna go in here. And I just like to add a little bit of ink down. Now this one has a little bit more detail to it. That's totally okay. And then what's gonna blend well with this? Let's see. Let's go in with this. Actually, I don't know what's gonna... Guys, someone help me out. What goes with the orange? We're gonna try Sidewalk Chalk. Sometimes I get stuck with colors because I use the same ones all the time when I want to switch it up, but I like don't know what to use. And then we'll finally go in with a little bit of Clear Skies. Actually, we're going bold, as I had mentioned, so we will be going in with Crown Me instead because it's bright and bold. And honestly, we're going to see if this makes mud because purple and orange should make mud, so these two might make mud, but we shall see. It's something that I've been kind of amazed with my inks, that they have a hard time making mud, which is really cool. But as we add to the color line, you just never know. So I'm going to spray this down until we really get that color moving and shifting. Sometimes I say like just a light spray. This is like you want to douse it with water. So there we go. We have it just swimming. And then we're going to take our stencil and place it down. And oh my gosh, I love this already. Okay, so then I take my rag and I like to just press down on this. It makes sure that any color that gets lifted out is going to go into the rag and not on your surface, which makes sure that all the lines are really nice and clean. I'm going to leave this on here for just a second to sink into the stark white cardstock. Yes, Elizabeth, the pads are very sturdy. They're made out of felt, so they're not going to like rip or anything like that, which is one of my favorite things about them because I am not nice to my ink pads. So let me pull this off the surface. So the stark white cardstock lets it really easily kind of sink into the surface, and you're able to create something just so cool. Look at that. So there, you can stamp with your stencil, and if you want to stop kind of bleeding like it is, I'll just go in with my heat set and dry it really quickly. Cheryl said, I somehow missed you had washi. Yeah, that's why I wanted to show it. I was like, I think a lot of people missed it, but it is just such a fun washi tape because, yeah, I just use it all the time in my envelopes. I think you probably missed it because I don't share it a lot in my videos because I don't use it a ton on the actual card, but like as far as putting on the inside of cards or in my planner or on envelopes, I use it a ton, but you guys don't see me mailing out all the cards. All right, so look at how cool that is. So there you have some easy either blending with the stencil or stamping out with the stencil, and there's just so many different things you could do with it. I love how this one actually has that darker kind of bleed line underneath it. It almost like creates a shadow, and also we're checking back in and we don't have mud. No mud. So like that's what I'm saying with, I always say I don't teach color theory and I don't like color theory, and my inks, I don't know what they did at Ranger, what the chemist did. They're all very smart over there. I'm so glad that we get to make our own inks, but it's just crazy because most of the colors that usually should make mud together, when you add them with water and you put them on a stencil like this, that stays nice and pure. So that's why I love playing with my inks, because you can really play with different color combinations and things you might not have tried. Even if you think it's going to make mud, try it. It might not, but you can get some really cool results in the end. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining the live today. I'm going to leave one last link for you guys to check it out. Again, you can shop at Brutus Monroe right now. They have it for pre-sale, and then scrapwood.com and Ranger Ink will have it on our site maybe in a week or two, depending on when it gets shipped out and when it gets to their warehouse. And also be sure to ask your local stores as well to get the Simon Hurley Create release in, and I'm sure they will be happy to get it in stock for you, and it'll be to them in, I think, a week. So thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, ask right now, ask away. I am so excited about this release. Let me lay it down one more time for you. So let me just throw out some samples. We have these fun backgrounds, cards. Guys, I just had so much fun crafting with everything. And here are some different projects that I created using all of the stuff. So thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you everyone for coming. Sarah, Elizabeth, thank you so much. Bernie, Scrappa.com, Lizzie, everyone, thank you so much. Trisha, and a huge shout out to everyone from Ranger as well. Ellen's in here. I saw Patty earlier and Megan on the Ranger account. Thank you all so much. They worked super hard to make sure that everything is going to be released on time, is going to ship on time. They are just amazing at making sure that everything is perfect. And yeah, thank you all at the Ranger team, especially for helping me come up with, like I said, the ink color. Sidewalk Chalk, it's a little bit difficult to come up with stuff like that right now because it's all made in-house, and sometimes there's a little bit of complications with everything that's going on in the world right now, but they did such an amazing job at making sure this was going to come out for February for all of you guys, so I really appreciate it. So give a huge shout out to Ranger, and thank you all so much for watching today's live stream release. I cannot wait to share a bunch more videos with you guys using this release and creating with it, and once again, I cannot wait to see everything you guys create with the release. All right, everyone, thank you so much. A lot of people are saying they already pre-ordered the release at Brutus Monroe and they're already on the wait list at Ranger and Scrappa.com. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.